How do you get yourself to work out when you're tired, lazy, and unmotivated, especially after a long day of work when all you want to do is crash on the couch? Waiting for motivation is unreliable, and forcing yourself to exercise is unsustainable. So, how do you stop skipping your workouts? In today's video, I'll share a simple strategy to push past the laziness and actually get your workout done without forcing it, without guilt, and without waiting for motivation to magically appear. By the way, I'm Vanessa. I'm a former Equinox personal trainer turned online trainer and nutritionist. I've helped hundreds of clients get in shape by focusing on small, doable steps that make consistent workouts a reality. Because here's the secret. It's not about powering through, it's about scaling down. Because after a long day of work, going to the gym feels overwhelming. Behaviors that feel difficult, like going to the gym after a long day of work, require a ton of motivation. But small behaviors that feel doable, like putting on a shirt, only require a bit of motivation. Instead of thinking, I need to go to the gym, focus on just the next small step, like putting on your shoes or grabbing your water bottle. These small actions feel mentally doable and only require a tiny amount of motivation, but they build momentum, and momentum is everything. This is one of the most powerful mental tools because oftentimes the resistance or inertia we feel after a long day of work will respond to action. If you remember from high school physics, inertia is the tendency for objects at rest to stay at rest. For example, if you've been stuck at a desk all day on your computer, you're probably stuck in inertia. If you've been sitting on the couch for 5 hours binging Netflix, you're probably stuck in inertia. But inertia also works the other way. Once you're in motion, you tend to stay in motion. Think about the last time you vacuumed one room of your house and then somehow ended up vacuuming the entire house. You weren't planning to vacuum the entire house, but once you started, momentum took over. It's the same thing with workouts. So if you're feeling stuck, don't think about the full workout. Scale it down to focus on the next small, doable step. Once you start moving, even in the tiniest way, you can build momentum. Let me show you step by step how this works in real life so you can implement this strategy into your own life. And stick around to the end because I'll also share where I got this idea and you'll see why it actually works. But first, if you're looking to build better habits for better health, I created a free 5-day email course called Thrive in 5. It's a series of 5 daily email lessons on how to work out effectively, eat healthy consistently, and live a healthier lifestyle. Each lesson is packed with powerful insights and practical tips designed to help you thrive in your health. If you're interested in that, click the link in my description box to sign up and you'll receive the first email right away. So a while back, I was at my parents' house and I hadn't exercised in a week and I knew going to the gym that day would be good for me. The only problem, I was feeling really lazy and unmotivated. And so of course, the excuses started flooding in. I didn't have any of my workout clothes, even though I could just look through my mom's closet for a t-shirt and sweatpants. I didn't have the right shoes, even though I could just do standing exercises in the slip-ons I was wearing. I didn't have my gym bag with my bands, even though I didn't necessarily need all that stuff. These little excuses stacked up and I felt stuck. So I used the strategy I'm sharing with you today. I scaled down the process of going to the gym. First step, I told myself, just go upstairs and find a t-shirt. So I went to my mom's closet and found a t-shirt. Then I told myself, grab the keys. So I grabbed the keys. Then I told myself, open the garage. So I opened the garage. Once I opened the garage, I automatically slipped on my shoes, got into the car, turned on the engine, and put it in drive. I didn't even think about it. It just happened. 7 minutes later, I got to the parking lot, but here's where another wave of resistance hit me. I sat in my car for 15 minutes watching NBA highlights on my phone. At this point, I even contemplated driving home because I was still feeling unmotivated and felt kind of stupid for just scrolling on my phone in the parking lot and not going inside. Then I reminded myself, just scale it down and do the next step. So I told myself, just get out of the car. I got out of the car. Then I told myself, just walk to the entrance. I got to the entrance and pulled the door open. As soon as I walked in, something clicked and I went straight into workout mode. I ended up having one of the best workouts in a long time. Even though I wasn't in my regular gym, wasn't wearing cute workout clothes, didn't have the right shoes or gear, none of the circumstances were perfect, but it didn't matter. Because I didn't wait for motivation. I built momentum one step at a time and I got my workout done. So again, the takeaway here is to scale it down to small increments. Going to the gym felt like a ton of effort, but grabbing a t-shirt felt doable. You only need a little bit of motivation to follow through with those small behaviors, and that's all the motivation you need. For instance, if you're a runner, you've probably done this. You're exhausted mid-run, so you say, just run to the next tree. Just get to that blue mailbox. Just make it to that red fire hydrant. Before you know it, you've run 3 miles because you weren't thinking about those 3 miles. You were just thinking about your next step. You were just thinking about getting to the next marker. That's the magic of small increments. Every small win builds confidence and momentum for the next one. So instead of just thinking couch to gym, think couch, sequence of behaviors, and then gym. That sequence for me was grab a shirt, grab the keys, open the garage, so on and so forth. So if you're working out after work hours, what's the process from when you close your work laptop to when you start your workout? Think about the sequence of behaviors and start from the first step. Or if it's the morning, what's the process from when you wake up to when you're out the door on your way to your morning workout class? What's that sequence? What's the first step? In behavioral science, this is called a starter step. It's the first step in a sequence of behaviors. And there's a Stanford University behavioral scientist named BJ Fogg, and he puts it like this. The starter step is a kind of mental jujitsu. It has a surprising impact for such a small move because the momentum it creates often propels you to the next step with less friction. Let me give you an example to really drive this point home, and this is actually where I got this idea of small increments. There's a Netflix docuseries called The Playbook, which features championship coaches who share their playbook for success in sports and life. Episode 1 details Coach Doc Rivers and his 2008 NBA championship win with the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics were up against the LA Lakers for the championship. The Lakers were heavily favored to win. They played Game 4 in LA. During the second quarter, the Celtics were down by 24 points, and back then, this was one of the largest deficits in a championship game. Doc Rivers could tell his team was losing focus and getting discouraged. So he told them, just focus on 6 less. As in, we're down 24 points. Let's just get that deficit to 18 points instead. They got to 18. Then he said, 6 less. They got to 12. Then he said 4 less. They got to 8. Then he said 4 less again. They got to 4. Eventually, they cut their deficit and tied the game. Then they won that game after overcoming a 24-point deficit, which set them up to eventually win the 2008 NBA championship. Also, if you're a Lakers fan, sorry I just made you relive that moment. What Doc Rivers focused on was small increments. A 24-point deficit is overwhelming. It can feel impossible to overcome even for an elite NBA player. But scaling it down and focusing on shaving just 4 points off of that makes it feel much more doable. So that is my number 1 tip for working out when you don't feel like it. It's about scaling it down to small increments and focusing on the small step in front of you to build momentum. Grabbing a t-shirt or grabbing your keys are all it takes to build momentum. Now, there's another important tip I have about one of the biggest myths in fitness that could be preventing you from getting in shape. If you want to learn more about what that myth is, click on this next video here that's popping up on screen. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in this next video here.